Baby, wake up. Wake up, baby.
Hello, is somebody
Wake
there to
up.
talk to me?
Who's all in the house?
Huh?
Who's all in the house?
It's me.
In February 2022, the Phoenix police responded to a 911 call to the home near 51st Avenue and Broadway Road at about 2:15 a.m. A man had called and asked for help after a group of intruders entered his home and fired at his wife. She was comatose and lying in her ballade. But when two officers arrived at the house, they didn't know that a nightmare was waiting for them. The call landed them into a gunfire battle in the middle of the night, in which one misstep could take the life of an innocent infant. Police body cam footage showed the intense battle between the man and the team of officers. 9 officers were wounded while trying to bring the situation under control. Yet, the morning ended in tragedy. Let's take a look at what happened on that fateful day. On February 11th, 2022, 36-year-old Morris Jones called 911 and reported a crime. His wife had been fired at during a robbery, but the content of the call was very suspicious. 2 people could be heard over the call. One was Jones and the other was an unidentified man. The 2 men sounded panicked and informed the dispatcher about firing at a stranger. The man in the background was also yelling and asking a woman to wake up.
Phoenix 911, where is your emergency?
It's a gunshot wound.
There's a gunshot wound.
Where?
We got an intruder.
We had an intruder.
Is that a house?
Yes.
So you shot an intruder?
Baby, wake up. Wake up, baby.
Hello, is somebody there to talk to me?
The dispatcher still sounded confused. She demanded to talk to one person who could give her the right information. One of the men eventually mentioned who got hurt during the altercation.
Huh?
Who got
Wake
shot?
up. It's a gunshot wound. We had an intruder.
I got that. Can I talk to one person? Who got shot?
My wife.
The dispatcher then asked for more details about the intruders. The man on the phone provided all the details, but couldn't specifically define the men who attacked his house.
They came in here trying to rob us. They came in here and robbed us.
Okay, how many were there?
It was 3 of us.
Did you
They
see
kicked
the
the door
race,
in.
white, black, Hispanic?
They had masks on. I can't say.
The dispatcher asked a few more questions about the intruder carrying weapons and the time of their departure from the house, but the man was too busy calling his wife to answer her.
What kind of, did they all have weapons?
Yes, they are. Baby,
When did they leave?
wake up. Wake up, baby. Wake up. Wake up.
After the call, the police arrived at their address. Body cam captured the moment the officer approached the victim's house to assess the situation, but no one was ready for what happened next. A man was seen standing at the door. He was shirtless and panicked, and was calling the officer to walk into his house.
Come on. You're choking on our own blood. Come on, bro. Come on.
Who's all in the house?
Huh?
Who's all in the house?
It's me.
The man had a suspicious stance. He had his left arm hidden and away from the officer. As the officer approached him, he suddenly brought out a gun and fired at him. The officer rolled onto the ground and ran away from the man to protect himself. Then, a second officer began firing back at the man. The wounded officer alerted his team and called for help.
I've been shot. 999.
A second angle was captured from the body cam of the second officer, where he was seen approaching the man with his gun at the ready, while the other officer ran away to save his life. The second officer's bullet hit Jones, and he quickly went inside the house. Soon, more officers arrived at the spot, followed by a police helicopter.
I got you. West side.
From another angle, an officer caught Jones opening his garage door. His car came out. Jones was trying to flee the scene, but a police vehicle was present at the back of his house, and he couldn't escape.
Squealing can be heard from Jones's vehicle as he drove into the police vehicle.
But Jones was determined to leave the place. He rushed his car toward the police vehicle and drove into it. His car squealed when he made the attempt. However, his attempt was unsuccessful. Jones opened his garage door and went back inside once again. And then, the front door opened once again, and out walked a man holding a small baby in his hands. He wasn't Jones. The officers didn't know how involved he was in the case, and if he posed any danger to them, so they warned him and ordered him to put the baby down. He followed their instructions and walked out quietly. Then he put the baby on the ground and put his hands in the air in surrender. Then the man stood up, turned his back to the officers, and slowly backed out of the house. The police continued to yell at him to keep his hands in the air. The team of officers then quickly detained him. Officers pushed him down on his knees and put handcuffs on him. On the other hand, a few more officers slowly approached the front door to recover the baby. But when the officers went close to the door, Jones fired at them once again. And this time, his bullets hit multiple officers at once. An officer's body cam footage showed the exact moment Jones fired the second round of bullets and wounded multiple officers.
Hey, come with me. Baby, door. I got the baby.
Fire.
The front door had a direct view of the staircase inside the house. Jones was securely posited on the staircase, waiting for the officers to walk to the door. This gave him a clear line to fire at them, without missing the target. The officers had to run away from the spot once again. A few of them were struck by the bullet.
I'm shot. Yes.
All right, move. Come on. Go now. Go.
The matter had gotten out of hand at this point. The police unit present at the scene called for SAU, or the Special Assignments Unit. They arrived with armored vehicles and special gear. They used their shields to retrieve the baby from the door. One of the officers grabbed the baby and quickly walked to safety.
From the Special Assignments Unit, or SAU, arrived on scene and developed a plan using armored vehicles and shields to rescue the baby. This occurred at about 3:30 a.m.
I need it. Here, give me the baby. Give me the baby. Go. It's okay.
But the war didn't end there. Police rescued the baby at around 3:30 a.m. Just after a few more moments, at 3:39 a.m., Jones fired at an armored vehicle that held a few officers. This damaged the tire of the vehicle.
Let's go. I got nothing. Feels good. Goff, what do you got? I got nothing. Just through the door.
Failing to bring him out, the SAU officers decided to address Jones and try to negotiate with him to come out, because they were afraid that the gun battle would eventually wound him or take his life. Many officers were also getting wounded, so talking to him was the best option given the situation.
Morris, this is the Phoenix Police SWAT team. We are out here. We are trying to save your life. It is very important that I talk to you right now. This is the number you need to call, the number you need to answer.
But they couldn't save his life. According to reports, at one point, Jones fired at himself and took his own life. Police managed to enter the house and found his body alongside his wife's.
2 people are dead, one the suspected shooter, the other the victim in the initial shooting that brought police to that scene early this morning.
The woman police received the initial call about, who they believe to be the shooter's ex-girlfriend, also dead, shot fatally, police say.
Although a few of the officers were wounded during the gun battle, all of them survived. The man who walked out of the house and surrendered to the officers and the baby were also unharmed. One of the officers present at the scene during the incident spoke at a press conference and mentioned that the entire team was afraid. He was shot but wasn't severely wounded, which enabled him to continue with the operation.
I didn't know what getting shot felt like, but it hurt. I did a quick kind of check for blood, didn't really see any blood, so I continued on.
The officer claimed that he wasn't really bothered about saving himself and only wanted to make sure that the neighborhood and the hostages were safe.
I didn't really fear for myself. I was kind of in fear for the community and where those bullets were going, really.
His superior was also proud of the team for pulling off such a risky rescue operation.
They ignored their own pain and all that other stuff that was going on to make sure that they could complete the mission.
A sergeant mentioned that it wasn't an easy job to see their fellow officers get hurt on the job. He also pointed out the dangers that come with this type of job and said that many do it only because they want to protect their community, and they don't do it for the money or the praise.
You know, it's hard. I think it just shows the type of person that decides to do this career. You know, it's not for the money. It's not for the accolades. It's a calling. These people choose this profession because something about it speaks to them and they want to help their community, they want to serve their community, and they realize that there are serious dangers associated with it. But it is hard. It's hard to see our brothers and sisters get hurt.
And he added that it was also hurtful to see the community members get hurt, but it was inevitable.
I know it's hard for the community to see community members hurt. You know, it's not just, we're not the only ones that were injured here today.
Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego also praised the brave officers who fought till the last moment and ensured the safety of the hostages.
9 officers shot or injured. That is an incredibly heavy weight for all of us. I want to say thank you to the dispatch team, the medical professionals, and firefighters, as well as our partner agencies who were part of today. They serve this community with excellence.
Chief Jerry Williams of the Phoenix Police Department called this incident senseless. She was upset that despite past records, incidents like this one were reoccurring.
I said it this morning and I'll say it again. If I seem upset, I am. This is senseless. It makes no sense. I'm trying to make rhyme and reason to this, but this kind of violence has no place in our city, and it continues to happen over and over again.
But what about the man who came out with the baby? Who was he? And what did the officers say about him?
Well, Tom, police describe that man as a family member. They say he was following their orders and putting the baby on the ground and walking out to be detained when another round of gunfire erupted. Police say he sustained non-life-threatening injuries. They do not believe he had anything to do with this ambush.
He was eventually identified as Jones's wife's brother. Police conducted further investigation to confirm that he didn't have any connection with the ambush, and they found that he had a clean record. But the same couldn't be said in Jones's case. When police investigated his record, many ugly truths came out. Jones had issues with authorities for a long time and had served in prison many times.
That's right, Faye. The suspect is identified as Morris Richard Jones III. We found the 36-year-old man had been in and out of prison his entire adult life.
His autopsy report identified the cause of his death as a self-inflicted injury. An autopsy report from the Maricopa County Medical Examiner determined the 36-year-old Jones died of injuries from shooting himself, even though he was also shot by police during the incident, according to department spokesperson Sergeant Ann Justice. Jones went to prison twice in the early and mid-2000s because of theft and carrying firearms.
15 investigators traced Jones's criminal history back to 2004, when he was imprisoned in Oklahoma for a car theft case. Then in 2006, he was charged in a federal firearms case.
He was reportedly a gang member as well.
Investigators say he was a Crips gang member nicknamed Petey Gun.
Jones had received a long sentence for all his crimes, but he was later granted a supervised bail. But he couldn't stay away from criminal activities, which landed him in prison once again.
Jones was sentenced to 84 months in prison. Later, on supervised release, he went back to prison twice for drug use.
On top of that, he also engaged in human trafficking and had more years added to his sentence.
The Federal Bureau of Prisons shows he was let out in October 2019. Just 4 months later, in February 2020, federal prosecutors in Arizona charged Jones with smuggling illegal immigrants.
This time he managed bail once again, but came back to prison in 2021 because of illegal substance abuse.
He was sentenced to probation, but broke the rules in 2021 by testing positive for drugs again and spent another short stint behind bars.
He was also charged with domestic violence recently. It showed that he was already abusive toward his wife, which eventually escalated to this incident.
We also learned Phoenix police investigated Jones for domestic violence less than a year ago.
This case was filed in 2021. The court document had details of the pain he inflicted upon his ex-girlfriend.
He reportedly punched an ex-girlfriend and took her 9mm gun. It's unclear whether that ex-girlfriend is the same woman who was killed in the home.
Surprisingly, another woman who remained unnamed told reporters that she had a child with Jones. However, it wasn't the same child that was rescued from the house that night. After the police arrived at his house that night, he called this woman, and she was on the call with him until she arrived at his house.
I don't know what was going through his head. He said that it was the police was outside. and I stayed on the phone with him until I arrived.
The police also spoke to Jones's brother. He didn't comment on the incident too much and blamed it on his poor mental health. No one knows if his claims were true.
He didn't talk about the criminal past, but said his brother may have been suffering from depression.
He said that his brother should have informed someone about his mental state and that he was going to take such a drastic step. Perhaps then something could have been done.
He should have called and said something to let people know that he felt like this and he was going to do this.
On the other hand, the police team members were undergoing treatment at a hospital, and locals tied blue ribbons on trees at the premises to show their support and solidarity for the officers. One of the women tying the ribbons had a heartfelt message for the officers.
We hope that they know that they're supported, that they can count on us in good times and bad.
Although the case wrapped up successfully, many believed that Jones had an easy way out. He was a criminal all his life and abused his partner many times. If anything, he should have been behind bars and served his sentence. An Arizona family investigation claimed that a convicted felon like Jones was supposed to be behind bars and not let out at all. And if the authorities had been more sincere, his wife's life could have been saved, and the officers wouldn't have been attacked. As a convicted felon, he was not supposed to be in possession of a firearm, but instead of being prosecuted for the felon in possession charge, Jones was instead sent to prison for 5 months for violating the terms of his probation. Had he been prosecuted for the weapons charge, he would have still been in prison at the time of the shooting. The authorities need to focus on this case and take the lessons to ensure that it never repeats. So, what did you think of this case? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel.